Hey, welcome back to our latest explainer. We all absolutely adore our pets, right? But what if? What if that love is accidentally contributing to a massive, silent health crisis? Today, we're diving deep into the science behind pet obesity. And hey, if you think this is an important topic, do me a quick favor, Top, and hit that subscribe button. Give this a like and drop a comment. It really helps us make more of these explainers for you.
All right, let's get into it. We're looking at a health crisis that could be sitting right on your couch: obesity in our dogs and cats. It's this quiet epidemic, happening right under our noses in our own homes. And what's wild is how closely it mirrors the exact same health trends we're seeing in people. So you got to ask yourself this question, because the thing is, the change is so gradual. It's just a little extra treat here, maybe a slightly bigger scoop of kibble there. And day to day, you just don't see it happening. It's almost impossible to notice.
But the numbers, whoa, the numbers are pretty staggering. We're talking about 30, even 40% of our pets being overweight. This isn't just about a few cuddly, chubby animals. This is a huge, widespread health problem that's affecting millions and millions of them.
And this goes way beyond just how they look. All that extra weight is directly linked to a whole list of really serious health problems. For dogs, we're talking about painful arthritis, kidney disease, even cancer. And for cats, the risks are just as scary. Things like diabetes and painful urinary stones. It puts a tremendous strain on their little bodies.
Now, a huge piece of this puzzle is actually our own perception. This quote just nails it perfectly. We see our pets every single day, and sometimes, well, our love can kind of blind us to what's really happening. We don't see the gradual weight gain. And if we don't even recognize there's a problem, how can we possibly fix it?
So what is actually going on inside their bodies on a biological level? Well, to really get a handle on obesity, we have to start with appetite. And it turns out it's this incredibly fascinating, complex dance of hormones and neurons happening deep inside the brain.
So deep down in the brain, there's this little control center called the arcuate nucleus. The easiest way to think of it is like a light switch. You've got two sets of signals that are constantly competing. On one side, you have neurons that are basically screaming, "Eat! I'm hungry!" And on the other side, you have neurons that are saying, "Whoa, stop, we're full." The balance between these two is what drives everything.
And these neurons, they're listening to some really powerful hormones coming from the gut. You've probably heard of ghrelin. That's the famous hunger hormone. It's the one that makes your pet start nudging you around dinner time. But then, after they eat, the gut releases other hormones like PYY and GLP-1, and those are the ones that slam on the brakes and signal, "Okay, we're good, time to stop."
Okay, but the gut isn't the only player in this game. For the longest time, science just thought of fat as, innard storage, just stuff. But it turns out fat tissue has a secret life of its own. It's actually talking to the brain.
Scientists figured this out through this incredible experiment back in the 1950s. It was called a parabiosis experiment. What they did was surgically join the circulatory systems, the bloodstreams, of an obese mouse and a lean mouse, so they could see if any signals were being passed between them through the blood. And the result was absolutely mind-blowing. It perfectly illustrates this hidden connection. The lean mouse suddenly just stopped eating. It was getting flooded with "I'm full" signals from the obese mouse's blood. This was the proof. Fat itself was producing a super powerful hormone that suppresses appetite.
And that hormone, which they finally identified decades later, is called leptin. Now, in a healthy body, the system works great. More fat means more leptin, which tells the brain to eat less. But here's the catch. In obese individuals, the brain can actually become resistant to leptin. It's like the full signal is shouting at the top of its lungs, but the brain has just put in earplugs and isn't listening anymore.
So now that we kind of get the science behind appetite and fat, how do we turn that into a real practical plan for weight loss? Well, veterinarians have a very clear, science-backed blueprint they follow. This clinical approach really breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you have to assess the situation objectively to figure out the pet's ideal weight. Then, a vet calculates the daily calories needed to maintain that ideal weight. Step 3 is the core of the plan, a safe and effective caloric restriction. And finally, and this is crucial, regular monitoring to track progress and tweak the plan as you go.
That first step, the assessment, is so important because our eyes can really trick us. Vets use something called a body condition score, or BCS. A 5 out of 9 is perfect, but for every single point above that 5, the pet is carrying an extra 10 to 15% of its body weight. So a pet that scores a 7 out of 9 isn't just a little chubby, they're actually about 20 to 30% overweight. That's a lot.
Now, don't get me wrong, exercise is fantastic. It's great for their health, for bonding, all of it. But the science is absolutely crystal clear on this one. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. The absolute, undeniable cornerstone of any successful weight loss program is caloric restriction, period.
But simply feeding less of the regular food isn't the whole story. When you're cutting back calories, the quality and type of those calories become incredibly important. It's all about fueling for success.
An ideal weight loss diet has a very specific recipe. You want it to be high in protein. Why? To protect their muscle mass, which is so important for their metabolism. It should be low in fat to cut down on the calorie density. And it needs to be high in fiber to help them feel full and satisfied, which, let's be honest, makes the whole process easier for them and for you.
This is exactly why those therapeutic diets you get from the vet are so effective. They've been scientifically formulated to have this exact profile. They make sure that even though the pet is eating fewer calories, they're still getting all the essential nutrients they need to lose fat while keeping that vital lean muscle.
And then there's the big one, treats. We all love giving our pets treats, right? But this is a make or break part of the plan. Those little bites can add up so incredibly fast and completely sabotage even the best diet plan. So the rule of thumb is simple, and it is strict. Treats have to be less than 10% of their total daily calories. And all of this brings us to a really fascinating final point that goes beyond just our pets. As this research suggests, because our animals share our homes, our food, our lifestyle so closely, studying them might actually give us better insights into our own health than the traditional lab rat models. They're like little sentinels for our own well-being.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? This whole issue isn't just about feeding our pets a little less. It's about taking a hard look at the world we've built, both for them and for us. What are they reflecting back at us?
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this valuable and you'd like to support what we do, please check out the Buy Coffee link in the description below. Every little bit of support helps us create more content just like this. Until next time, give your pet a healthy pat from us.